Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Catalina Castillo, and I am the Director of Grants, Funded Programs, and Student Achievement. I want to thank you for joining us this evening for the E2E Summer Bundle of Learning Family Webinar. The Extended School Day School Violence Prevention Program, known to us as the E2E program, came to an end, unfortunately, on June 2nd, after 5 years of funding. We are very thankful to have had the opportunity to give our students such a meaningful and worthwhile program. I just want to acknowledge and thank our many partners who made learning experiences exciting and possible for our students. We had the Cradle of Aviation Museum, Hofstra University Museum of Art, Culture Play, the Long Island Children's Museum, South Shore Guidance Center, the Freeport Recreation Center, and Freeport Fit. I want to take a moment to thank the people behind the scenes that worked behind the scenes to ensure that our students were appropriately supervised during programming on site and virtually on their school trips to and from partner sites. Thank you to our E2E chaperones for your many years of dedicated service to your students and this program. Joining us tonight, we have our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Mrs. Gloria Engel. We have our Directors of ELA, Mrs. Mary Lamada, Director of Math, Dr. Anthony Murray, and our Director of Science was not able to get on this evening, but Dr. Vincent Pereira was also, he also contributed to this evening. We also have our lovely principals, Mrs. Campbell Ham, principal of Atkinson Intermediate School, and our lovely Miss Joanne Lagondi, principal of Dodd Middle School. We brought you here this evening to explain how to use the summer learning resource kits we purchased through our E2E funds for all of our E2E students, and hope that our students will take full advantage of these wonderful learning materials. The presentations will be conducted by our instructional specialists, Mrs. Christine Maloney and Mr. Matthew Yatsila. I now present to you Miss Maloney, who will be introducing the ELA materials that students will be working on over the summer. Welcome, Miss Maloney, and thank you.
Thank you. The students got a wonderful packet that they can complete with a reading log and wonderful nonfiction and fiction titles to choose from, wonderful paperbacks. I'll just highlight a few that I thought were really great. One of them is What Color is My World? And this is a very short book that is about inventors. The subtitle to it is The Lost History of African-American Inventors. So you get to learn about Dr. Mark Dean, who helped make the personal computer, to George Crumb, who did potato chips, the inventor of potato chips, all the way to Lonnie Johnson, who created the Super Soaker. So for students who are young entrepreneurs and engineers, can check out that book. If your student loves history, you might want to check out US History through infographics. Wrapping your head around American history can make your head dizzy, like remembering all these dates and facts. Well, infographics makes it so much easier for your student to understand American history through charts, maps, illustrations. It's a visual story. So this is fun. I would recommend having a book like this just on your dining room table, keeping it around the house, just to like flip through and read a couple pages. Another book from the nonfiction section that I wanted to highlight is Rebel Voices. This explores the history of women's rights through 22 different countries. Each page is takes one country and then it goes chronologically talking about the women's struggle, and the pictures are really beautiful. It's gorgeous snapshots of women's suffragist history. So that's a little bit in the nonfiction packet. And then some fiction titles that I thought were really great. There's a couple realistic fiction titles and there's some fantasy books. Gordon Corman is the author of The Unteachables, and I know Atkinson had read one of his titles, Restart, recently, so they might want to jump on and check out this one. Unteachables are a group of kids that never thought they'd find a teacher who had a worse attitude than they did. And Mr. Kermit never thought he would actually care about teaching again. It's his last year, he's going to retire, and he's just kind of given up. Over the course of a year, though, through room 117, your students are going to read about mayhem, destruction, and maybe these students are going to have a chance at redemption. So that's a realistic fiction title I'd recommend. And another realistic fiction title from the packet is A Good Kind of Trouble. This is about 12-year-old Shayla. She's kind of allergic to trouble. She's a really good girl, and she wants to follow the rules. But in junior high, it's like all the rules have changed. After experiencing a powerful protest through the Black Lives Movement, Shayla decides breaking some rules might just be worth it. So that's another example of something that is in the realistic section that your students might want to check out. There's also fantasy titles and a little bit of history titles you can check out. Some suggestions for making the summer reading experience in your family, which to just kind of like carve out maybe 20 minutes of family time each day where everyone stops, reads a book, reads a magazine, and then maybe you can discuss like your reading choices, or someone can take turns reading out loud. I also suggest that our students like set goals for themselves. Maybe when they get this great packet, they look through and like, okay, my goal is to read, 3 of the fiction books, or maybe your goal is to like complete a whole series, like the Percy Jackson series this summer. You can also kind of write a blog or a log about your experiences, which you can do in this packet over here. And in addition to that, join the summer reading program at the public library. As students read over the summer, they will earn raffle tickets to earn prizes all summer long. So you can have a goal of reading 6 books over the summer, or just 1 or 2, and you still get your raffle tickets. That's a little bit about the packet that from the English department. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Maloney. And what's so exciting about those titles is they're not only high interest, they're going to be the same book for many of the students on your grade level. Everyone who's getting that packet will be getting those 10 books. So what I always loved as a reader is being able to talk with my friends about what I'm reading, share it, give them recommendations. So you don't necessarily have to read it on your own. You can meet up and talk about it. You can engage it. You can recommend some of these books to your classmates and share them. So we really hope that you enjoy this bundle this summer.
Hello, Mr. Yatsila. Would you like to now present the STEM materials that are inside the packet?
Sure. Let's do this here and then open. Okay, so I'm actually presenting for both the math and the science departments here. So the first part is we have a summer math manipulatives kits. Now, over the summer, the math manipulatives kit's going to come in a large plastic bag, but instead of taking everything out, I decided to put it in pictures. Makes life easier. The good thing is that everything in here has a manual that goes with it. So there's, again, if you don't remember what to do with it, or it literally will take you step by step, and this can be used in more than the ways that I'm showing you today. So first off, we have a coordinate pegboard. I took a picture of the book just so you know what to look for. This is great because there's a lot of things you can do with this. Again, you can practice plotting points. Now here goes a single quadrant. So these would all be positive numbers. This is great for 5th grade. It's also great for 6th grade to review. Here you can do area and perimeter just by counting down to get your perimeter. You can multiply to get your area. You can also go ahead and practice drawing slopes. So you can figure out how far does it go over compared to how far does it go up, and higher slope, lower slope from there. Slope is a huge thing, especially in the middle school. We can also do 4 quadrants, same thing. These can slide. So we can do, again, area. We can also do area of a triangle to show them why it's going to be 1/2 time of the base times the height. You can show from here, you can do coordinate graphing. Again, you can almost do perimeter in a triangle. It's a little tougher, but you could also make multiple different shapes. So going across lines, showing the difference even just of, if I had this peg instead here, the difference between a -3 and a +5, how far apart they are, to show some basic integer, some basic integer calculations. Someone said integer algebra. That's later. All right. Now we have build grid. Now this is great for showing fractions and regular multiplication. I know from when I was a student, we didn't have anything this great. We used different colored pencils, and this is a really great visual. So multiplying fractions is a very large part of what's coming up through math from really grade 5 all the way up through 8. And being able to do it and understand why it works is extraordinarily helpful. Now, for a visual student, multiplying fractions is just kind of magic. For this, it's to take the magic out of it. So in this case, if I take 2/5 and I multiply it by 5/12, so I can color in 2/5, I can color in 5/12. When I multiply them, this goes into the little holder and it shows where it overlaps. So it gives you how many are filled in out of how many total. And this gets us, in this case, 10 out of 60. And then you can reduce it down by, okay, we can break this down and take off the zeros. We can get to 1/6. So this is great, especially if you're going to be taking, and especially over the summer, I do a lot of cooking over the summer, taking partial recipes and changing them around. So I don't need to make enough of this item for 20 people. I need it for 1/4 of that. So if I need 3/4 of a cup, what's 1/4 of 3/4? And you can work from there. And it's getting them involved and getting them to see something visually, which isn't always something that we get to do in a textbook. And we don't always, I mean, especially now with the internet, it's been helping tremendously to show these visual things, but to really sit there and cross it all out or color it in to show what happens. And this is reusable because it's all dry erase. All right, now algebra tiles. Algebra really starts in 5th grade a little bit, but then really gets pushed in 6th, 7th, and 8th. Just showing what an expression is. These variables here, we don't know what they are. So if I have 3 of these and 4 of these, I have 3 sets of a number and 4 more. Now that's just an expression. If I want to make it an equation, I have 3 sets of these plus the 4, and now I have a total of 12. And the way we do this is we cross these out, we pair them off, and I wind up with getting 3 variables equaling 12, and then I can start distributing them over so I can show what each variable would be worth. For the 7th and 8th graders, we can get into the negative units. We can also get into the squares, showing the area model. 2 color coins. Now, these have a lot of uses. I just went for what I know they're mostly used for. It's positive and negative numbers, which also comes along with science with you have a positive and negatively charged particle. If you have more positives or more negatives, you can show this way. So in this case, I have my yellows mean a positive, my reds mean a negative. I pair my positives and negatives up. They cancel each other out, leaving me with only 2 positives left over. So I can use this to show multiple different ways to say, okay, I have these. Sometimes they give you a very large amount of them. You can literally drop them on the table and then, okay, I have how many positives, how many negatives, and then which one do I have more of? This can also be used for probability. If you want to do, take, instead of flipping a coin 25 times, you can take 25 of these chips, put them in a cup, and then pour them on a table. And you can see what the outcomes would be to do basic probability experiments. Color tiles. Now, this is literally from the book. I figured the book did it so well. It's perfect in here, showing rates, showing ratios. So for every 1 blue, I need 2 green. Now, this in this case means that 1 book for $2. The dollars would be the green books. The dollars would be the green blocks. I said books because I'm reading book. Would be the green blocks, and the books there are the blue. You can do this for multiple things, even if you're home. Okay, if you have, if we use this much electricity and it costs this much per kilowatt, then how much will we pay at the end of the month if we leave our air conditioner on all the day, which is a constant battle in my house of don't leave the air conditioner on when you're not home. How much energy are you using? It also gives through a lot of the questions that you would see on a Regents exam of how it would be set up. So it does help along with those lines, getting them ready for the high school. Now, the next one is the summer science build. Now, this year, we're kind of focusing on green, and we're focusing on recycling, we're focusing on reusing. So we're making solar powered boats. So we're getting both green energy and we're using recycling and reusing project, because again, the less we waste, the more we can use then for other things. So this comes in I took a picture of the box because this is 3 of that they're giving you for the box. These are, again, reusable, so you can take this apart, put this together. For me, I actually built one just to show at the end. And these are all no batteries needed, very, very little wiring understanding needed. They give you the wire nuts you need, and you can build these any way you want. So they do suggest these three, but then after that, you can literally just experiment and try different things, try different items, try different sizes. And what they give you in the kit, it's a kind of a small box because there's a lot of the materials are coming from recycling. So they give us a little solar panel. They give you some double stick tape, which I suggest either double stick tape if you have more of it. Otherwise, the magic of duct tape is great. I do recommend having some of that around. They give us a propeller for air. They give us a small motor. They give us a booklet with instructions. They give us 2 axles, and they give us a small propeller and these wire nuts to hold the wires together. So you don't need to solder anything. You don't need to tape anything. They literally just screw on, they hold the wires together. And the good thing is that if they make a mistake with the wiring, it runs backwards. They just have to go, okay, how do I solve it? Or they can reread the instructions and it tells them how to do it. So this is a fun one because you really, really can build some very intricate examples here without really having to worry too much about, is it wrong? Is it right? Does it look weird? It's just go and experiment and explore with it. So this is a speedboat. So the instructions would be here. You can follow the instructions exactly. I necessarily didn't. I did a different one. So again, you can build things. It shows you how to cut things. Everything can be cut with a scissor, especially if you use the smaller bottles, the regular everyday water bottles that are so common to see and getting thrown out. Recycle them, reuse them. And then from here, I think that's it. So I will go and just on my screen really quick, let me stop this. And just for the idea, show you what one result would be. Let me just take off my background here because it's covering up. I don't know exactly how to turn off this. All right, choose virtual background, there we go. And so this is something I put together in a few minutes that was quick and easy. So this is a fan boat. It's literally 2.5 bottles. I cut some up for supports. The rudder goes down here and your solar panels here. The solar panels do only work outside. I tested it inside. So if you're going to try it out and it says, oh, it's not working, wait for a sunny day, go outside. They do tell you don't put it in salt water because it will corrode it. I suggest on some place on there to tie a string so it can go and go and go, and then you can retrieve it. Because if you take it to the Freeport pond, then it goes across the pond, you might never see it again. So again, have a retrieval string on there and you're good to go. All right, so that's my part. I hope you have fun and explore and really, really, really experiment because I'm curious to see how the boats come out.
Thank you, Mr. Yasila, for that presentation. And it's a great way to not only extend learning, but also to bring some of the abstract to life. So get engaged with the activities, play around with it, and some of the theory and the abstract that's covered in your respective classes, it can sort of like bring it to life. Thanks again, Mr. Yasila.
And that really concludes our evening, our presentation. I don't know, Ms. Engel, would you like to say anything in closing? Or anyone?
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We're extremely excited to be able to offer these resources for our E2E students for the summer. I was hoping Ms. LaGrande and Ms. Campbell can just talk about how the students will be receiving these resources in the coming days before the last day of school, or if any of our teachers are aware of what that plan is, so the parents are aware of how they're going to receive the resources for their children.
Well, this is so exciting. First of all, thank you so much. It's so exciting that our students are getting such amazing resources for the summer. The books are excellent. I can't wait to get my hands on them myself and to try to get the students outdoors to build things and become engineers themselves. Phenomenal. We've already started distributing these bags in our building. So our students are receiving them. So please watch this video over if you need to, just to get a sense of which books you'd like to start first. Believe it or not, for our 8th grade students, Friday is our very last day of school for the year. And for our seventh grade students, Monday is our very last day of school. And so before you know it, you'll be engaged, you'll be reading, you'll be having fun, and know that we are available here in the summer. We will be in the building. You will be able to email Miss Maloney. You can email me. You can email any of us for us to help you through all of the materials that you are receiving. So we have already started distributing them, Miss Engel. Thank you so much.
Here
Well-
at Atkinson, we are distributing them starting tomorrow through Thursday. And then we're following it up with the students who are 100% remote. We're scheduling a pickup on Thursday and Friday for those students, but the bags are set to go. Our chaperones have already spoken to the children, and pickup is being scheduled starting tomorrow through Friday of this week. And great job to all the presenters. Very exciting and fun things in the bags for the students to discover and explore. So I'm really excited about all the possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We just want to wish you a wonderful and very safe summer. Thank you again for joining us this evening, and let's look forward to more wonderful programs like E2E in the future.